Hey folks, welcome to my new series. I don't know what I'm going to call it. Maybe Critical Eye was sort of a name I've been throwing around. It's basically going to be a series where you, the editor or the viewer, submit a video that you want me to critique. And what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll talk about all the good things that the editor does and all the things that the editor could probably brush up on. Now for the inaugural video that we're watching, it's going to be Perseverance. This one's made by my good friend Zach MP4. He doesn't do too much in-game stuff, but when he does, it's actually pretty stylish. I enjoy it. So it should be interesting to see what he's made for this video. Enough of talking, let's get into it. First 20 seconds, a lot of establishment cams. Like his use of depth of field, looks clean. All right, so right off the bat, I'm never a fan of this kind of stuff here. I'm gonna have you take a look at the kill feed. I want you to notice something as we're watching, all right? We're gonna play through that sequence all over again.
It is just Krimbo left to do it all. The low HP Hobbit, then it's bound and Krimbo. The young man is looking to pull off the clutch. The block is pulled. He's down to 2. Oh!
This is like a new age sort of editing style where the editor feels like they need to shake the camera after every kill. Like you have to add some impact and move the footage in a way after every kill, no matter how inconsequential or boring the frag is. The camera moves for some reason. It looks like Zach MP4 takes a very liberal approach to the wiggle effect in After Effects. Yeah, and you know what? Let me show you how that's done real quick so you guys know. Okay, cool. So we're in After Effects and we've got a clip here. Okay, so basically we're going to click New, go to Adjustment Layer. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Effects and Presets and we're going to click Slider. Okay, throw that on. And then we're also going to do Transform. All right, and throw that on. So basically what you want to do is you want to Alt click on Position. What you want to do is you want to click and type in Wiggle. Okay, we'll tab. Okay, the way wiggle works is the first number you put in is how often it shakes per second, and then the second number is how much it shakes, okay? Okay, so here, let me show you. Okay, so for this effect that Zach does, in order to work, I think we might have to do like 30. We want it to shake 30 times a second, and then for the second number, we're going to let the slider dictate that, okay? And what that is you want to type in Effect, okay, and tab, and then we're gonna do quotes, slider control, tab, and then go outside the parentheses, put in another parentheses, quotes, slider, okay? Now, we have a slider that now controls our shake. So here, let me show you. Do you see it moving as I move the slider? Yeah. Okay. Whew, it's a lot. Okay, cool. All right, let's put that back to 0. Okay, all right, now that we have a slider that activates wiggle, we can now time it to wiggle on the kill. Okay, so let's scrub over to when the kill starts. Boom, right there. We're going to put a keyframe on the slider, press U on adjustment layer to bring up the keyframes. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it shake immediately after the kill. So let's go 1 frame over and let's jack it up to like 50 or something, okay? All right, and at the same time, it looks like he zooms in, right? So what we're gonna do is go back to the first keyframe, go to transform, click scale, okay? Let's hit U to bring up the scale now. And then we're gonna have that scale up over like, I don't know, say 10 frames, right? And we'll have it scale up to like 110, okay? All right, so then what we wanna do is we wanna start to ease it out, right? Scale it back down, okay? So what that will be is we're gonna go maybe like, yeah, like 20 frames after it initiates, and we're gonna bring everything back to their normal values. Okay, cool. So you have this normal scene that's playing out, and as soon as the shot occurs, it zooms in and it starts to shake the screen. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Ooh, okay, so a bit too much. Let's scale back the wiggle just probably by like half. There we go. All right, let's see how that looks. All right, cool. So it happens pretty fast. What Zach does is what Zach does in the video, he slows it down, and then that way he can have a little more finesse with the wiggle and the scaling it won't go as fast. But yeah, as you can see, it scales, wiggles, and then comes back down. Probably make this scale a little bit. And he probably plays with like the easing. So we'll just highlight that, shift F9, and that'll ease in. Yeah, but yeah, it's a common thing that editors do now. They you know, they scale and they shake. I think there's a time and place for that type of thing to really add impact, but it seems like Zach overuses it a bit on this first sequence on Overpass. Just a heads up, there's a flow video coming out that teaches about flow. Zach seems to have that, so I'll show you. Ready? Cool. See, never mind. I lied. Here. Do you see how he started the shooting on that beat? Dun, 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 dun. Shooting, 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 shooting. I teach this in my flow video, but he gets it there, but then he misses this sync part here. The shooting should have started. Shooting should start there, but unfortunately, it comes after the beat. I think that kind of ruins the flow a little bit. Missed that opportunity. That was good. Yeah. Pretty easy sync opportunity. Ooh. See right there. Okay, so he has this like sync pattern going, right? He was hitting the shots on the ones, but then he hits it on the 4 there. And I feel like that messed up the flow just a little bit. If he could have just slowed the clip down just a little bit, almost imperceivable, he could have hit that on the first beat there and really kept that flow, that sync pattern going, and really that scene would have really felt good there. Yeah, okay, so that felt really good. Okay, there's like 2 weird juxtapositions there. That shot and the directing felt really good. This like came out of nowhere. This like startled me almost. A huge part about making frag movies is you want to prepare the viewer's eyes for what's to come. Okay, so for instance, say somebody comes out of this smoke, right? Lighting the smoke up almost imperceivably, but just a little bit, is one way to give the viewer context clues as to what's to come and to prepare their eyes. Maybe even starting the cam from behind the player here and then moving it around the box to show the guy going up on the platform there on B would have been a good idea. Coming out of POV into the third person would have been a good idea. This does a 180, which, you know, not always the best thing to do, and then places it on the other side of this box and then on the other side of another box. From a filmmaker standpoint, it jumps locations and really takes you out of your place in the scene. And also just the sheer fact that the velocity was just a little off. It like wiggles and like, you know, just a little too fast. That's okay. Film blur looks really good. I don't think Zach uses frame blending. I think he uses real smart motion blur. But yeah, it looks good. Feels smooth. I think Zach recreates his kill feeds because real smart motion blur just absolutely destroys kill feeds. It like does this like weird thing because the algorithm doesn't know how to apply motion blur to these little icons. And I'm going to go out and say that Zach probably records with no crosshair and just adds this crosshair in post because it also destroys crosshairs. So yeah, this... Ooh. Okay, so that was a great way to use shake. Oh, that feels so good. Coloring's cool. It's like pastel, almost muted in a way. Unique coloring. I don't hate it. Okay, so if you look at a video as a 3-act play, that was the end of the first act. This is probably the beginning of the second act. Starting it off with, you know, some concerned looking players with some live footage. This feels good. It feels like it's its own little compartment. It's beginning the next act of the video. It's leading into sort of like this, you know, narrative of them facing some tough times, but overcoming. So yeah, I like it. Zach is a capable editor. I would like to see him in the future work on his cam path control. It's a bit much when you're switching scenes. from Mirage and you're making an establishment cam, the last thing you want to do is make this very chaotic, out of control, swooping cam that starts up high and comes down low, which this one does. It looks like, I can't even imagine what it looks like drawn in the map. Probably just all over the place, right? I would just like to see that cleaned up a little bit. Again, time constraints are a bitch. I get it. From a design standpoint, go with something simpler and then add, you know, some organic wiggle post-production. Okay, so remember what we talked about earlier? That's shit. I mean, I get it. I think... yeah, I mean, if he would have... I think I get it because, you know, the player comes at the camera, dies, and you're sort of like looking at the player's face. It would have been great if he slowed it down here and then cut it to here. That would have been probably a little more clever transition, right? From here to here. I felt like that would have been like kind of cheeky, you know? This felt weird though. Again, cutting live footage into your in-game without much context or relevance. Never was a fan, but I get the sentiment. I feel like he missed the sync there. It feels like it's off by 1/4 of a second. I do like the sudden absence of music and just the knife and the in-game playing. It's a nice touch. Having like just very simple scenes like that, especially after a very grungy sounding soundtrack, it's I don't know, it's nice. It's a warm feeling. Yeah, okay, so this is a really cool thing that I like here. This is so simple, but this feels right. Zach follows the player around the corner, and instead of just turning the camera like this, he tilts it to go around the corner. And that little detail is something that I really appreciate because it almost feels like you're on a highway or like a roller coaster and you're going around a turn, and you know how the highway or the roller coaster banks so you don't feel lateral G's? He kind of takes that concept and he applies it to his camera work. There's something organic about this movement because it does that. And I appreciate that from Zach. I think that's a job well done. Okay, Zach, what on earth? But why? What are you even wiggling the camera for here? What just happened? Because he pulled his knife out? You wiggled the camera? I don't get it, man. I don't.
Next terms to syrsoN, real close to death. Just doesn't know it yet. He's down in the pit again, so he's going to survive a minute longer for now. Oh, he actually gets the flick. He's so fast with it. syrsoN goes down, and he's ready for Axile. Yeah, he's running for it here now, but he's got no time. And no scope to close it out.
Okay, that was a good use of commentary, and that's mostly because he actually mixed it properly. The commentary wasn't screaming at you, it wasn't blaring out your ears, it wasn't overpowering the other sounds. It felt cinematic, but at the same time, it felt like you were watching the clip live. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty good job, something that not a lot of people get right.
Especially with the crowd against him as well, it's just like, let's end this when we can. Let's move on to that. Oh, syrsoN!
Yeah, yeah, okay. Beautifully done, by the way. I'm always a huge fan of the frag part leading into the outro with sort of like this little build-up, or like the outro is part of the frag part. You know, a lot of people end a movie on the last beat of the song and then it just fades out and you're just left with like nothingness, you know? Whereas this, you know, you get this awesome shot and then this quiet dip in the song and then it comes back up and then it, boom, hits you with the credit sequence. This definitely captured my heart. So here, let's take a listen one more time. So again, what you're going to see is you're going to see the shot, boom, the music dips down, and then it comes back up, boom, outro, okay? Beautifully done. Something that I would do myself, so I love it.
This is what we can. Let's move on to that. Oh, syrsoN!
Yeah, so incredibly well done. And then intermixing it with frags, yeah, just keeps you interested while they're rolling through the credits. Yeah, it's about what I expected from Zach. Zach doesn't make bad movies. He makes Zach movies. You know, they're good. I just would like to see him just take that next step into creating some better cam paths and really just honing in his skills with the HLE cam path system. But aside from that, you know, he completely gets it. He gets how to make a movie. And yeah, can't wait to see more from him. All right, cool. So that wraps up this episode of Critical Eye. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go with that. You know what? Why don't you guys name the series? Why don't you get in the comments below and tell me what you want to call this series? Do you like Critical Eye? Or maybe you want to call it something else? That being said, it better not be something nasty, okay? Let's be adults here, okay? All right, till next time.